Hello everybody and welcome back. I'm Kari and today I'm going to be doing my October haul. Yes, I am filming two different videos on Halloween, in part because I have the time and in part because I just really enjoy wearing the horns, and when else do I get to wear them? Really? So this month was much better than September, I will say that, so that's something, and 4 of the books I actually bought for school. We'll start with those. I am writing a paper about Indigenous women in Africa, specifically the Maasai, the Xhosa, and the Zulu, and there are several really big categories of issues that need to be addressed in my paper, and they are cattle, inheritance, marriage, and divorce, hence these 4 books. So the first one is Marriage by Force, a contestation over consent and coercion in Africa, edited by several people. This book is actually looking to be really helpful. I haven't quite gotten into the weeds of it yet, but I am very excited to see what it's all about. The second one is Women and Power in Post-Conflict Africa by Aileen Mari Tripp. Pretty much the title says it all. I mean, they're non-fiction books. They're pretty simple, title-wise anyway. So that's the second. The third one is In Search of Equality, Women, Law, and Society in Africa. Again, edited by a whole bunch of different people. This one's pretty short, but should also be helpful, and like the other ones, I'm excited to read it. And then the last one that I bought for school was Social Facts and Fabrications, Customary Law on Kilimanjaro from 1880 to 1890 by Sally Folk Moore. Alright, and then we got some fun books. So, the first one I got, that is, there we go, is Binti by Nnedi Okorafor. I'm sorry about the name. This is just a novella. It's not even 90 pages, but I was browsing around on Amazon and saw her name come up and thought, why not? She writes a lot of sci-fi and fantasy with African mythology threaded throughout it, so I'm quite excited to read that because I don't know much about African mythology. For that matter, I don't know if I know anything, but I'm excited to read this. The next one is one that I had pre-ordered, and it is The Glass Spare by Lauren DeStefano. This one is about a girl who can turn people into gems by a touch. That's all I remember from the synopsis, and regardless, it sounds good, and I like the cover. It's pretty. The next one is part 2, or book 2, in a series by Mercedes Lackey and James Mallory, and that is The Dragon Prophecy, Blade of Empire. I have the first one of this in paperback, so they're going to be a little bit mismatched, but I can live with that. And also the first one is in Colorado, so gotta fix that over Christmas break. But quite excited to read this one. I remember really liking the first one. It was much more militaristic than Mercedes Lackey's other books, but I think that would have been Mallory's influence. So excited to see what happens in the second book. And the third one is The Gunpowder Plot by Carola Dunn. This is about, set in the 1920s, it's a murder mystery set on Guy Fawkes Day, which is November 5th, for those of you who don't know. I am quite excited to read this simply because it sounds fun. 1920s, set on Guy Fawkes Day, and I love Guy Fawkes Day. Next one is one I read when I was younger, and I remember thinking it was a little strange, but I also liked it, and that is The Egypt Game by Zilpha Keatley Snyder. This is about a bunch of kids who make up this game about ancient Egypt, and then some strange things kind of start happening, and they're not really sure, so they gotta figure it out. That's the gist of it. That's about all I remember about it, but I am excited to reread it. And then another one about Guy Fawkes, because like I said, I enjoy Guy Fawkes, and that's coming up on Sunday, is Guy Fawkes or the Gunpowder Treason, an Historical Romance by William Harrison Ainsworth. The first thing that struck me about this is that I don't know why it is bigger than my head. Theoretically, it should be, you know, this size, but it's not, and I don't understand it, but at least it'll be, I don't know, a unique book. Pretty much, though, the title says it all. It's set in the 1600s, specifically 1605, because that's when Guy Fawkes tried to blow up Parliament and then got caught because a co-conspirator wrote his Catholic brother-in-law, I think it was, and said, get the Catholics out of Parliament, and the Catholics went, James, sir, you're gonna want to leave Parliament. And lo and behold, there's Guy Fawkes setting fire to barrels of powder beneath Parliament. Didn't end well. Anyway, so yeah, excited to read this one just for the sake of reading something. And then the last one I have about Guy Fawkes is a nonfiction, actually, and it's Faith and Treason, The Story of the Gunpowder Plot by Antonia Fraser. Like I said, it's nonfiction, so it'll sort of fill in all the gaps that I have about that little summary about the gunpowder plot. The next two I got actually as birthday presents. I turned 25 this month. I don't know about you, but I feel ancient now. And the first one is The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. This is, well, I'm not really sure. It kind of looks like a self-help book, but it's very short, and my aunt typically gives me pretty good books, even if I don't necessarily think I would buy them myself. They do tend to be pretty good, so I will read this one, and I read a couple pages already. It seems pretty funny. And then the other one that my aunt got me is Evicted by Matthew Desmond. Matthew Desmond is apparently a friend of hers, and in this book he basically talks about poverty, specifically in Milwaukee. He follows 8 different families in Milwaukee through poverty, and I believe he says that capitalism is the cause of poverty, or poverty is. There's something weird in there that I don't necessarily agree with, but I'm excited to read it to see if he can change my mind. And then the last two are fun books, or sort of. The first one is Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard, The Ship of the Dead, which is apparently the last book in the Magnus Chase trilogy, which makes me very sad. But I've already read this book. Check out my October wrap-up if you want to hear, you know, minimal thoughts on it, but something. It follows Magnus and his friends as they go and they try to stop the end of the world, or Ragnarok, and considering Thor Ragnarok comes out next month, November, it seems really fitting that it would come out now. Also, Percy shows up in this one a little bit, which I love because I love Percy. But yeah, this one thoroughly enjoy. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I can't wait for the next Apollo one to come out. And then the last book, while I say it's a fun book, I mean that in the sense that it's fiction. However, it is a reflection on society, and that is Dear Martin by Nick Stone. This is about a young black man who basically gets in trouble even though he's not done anything, I think. Yeah, yep, honor student. So I'm excited to read this. It's pretty short. Sit down one night and just fly through it, hopefully. Yeah, those are all the books I bought in October, and I'm very excited to read pretty much all of them, as you can tell. I hope you guys all have a wonderful Halloween, and I will see you next time. Bye!